Having a perfect conversation. What exactly does that look like? Hi, my name is Carl White. You are listening to Loan Officer Freedom, number one podcast in the world today for loan officers. And I'm broadcasting today here in the secret headquarters in the communications room this morning here at the Mortgage Marketing Animals with superhero, the mortgage superhero himself, the Thor of loans, Mr. Steve Kyles. How you doing,
Let's
brother?
go. Let's go. Let's go. Hey,
Yeah,
I got my cape on today, man.
you,
So
you
that's
do have it.
perfect. Right
Oh,
there.
Thor wears a cape, right? Yeah, Thor wears a cape. Yeah.
Well, this store wears a cape.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah. The real Thor wears a cape. Absolutely. So, all
we
right,
got a great topic today, man. This is gonna be a good
having
one.
the perfect conversation. So
Yeah.
this is going to be for uh, emails,
Yep.
texting, social media,
Yep.
phone calls, teaching classes,
Yep.
like you name it, having perfect conversation. So I'm going to give you a little formula here that I've used for years, and we'll talk about the different steps of it. So this is not
Hey,
going to be a
hey, and
long.
before we get started, let me just say this for our listeners too in our community. You guys, let me brag on Carl. You know, one of the greatest gifts that Carl has is the ability to sell and an understanding that we're digital marketers. And Carl, I don't think we talk about that enough, but one of your greatest gifts and what's helped you influence this industry at the level you have, I mean, I would venture to say there's not many people who don't either know you and us as the marketing animals or that your influence hasn't touched. And as you're thinking about your mortgage business, part of the gifting of Carl is you say, what does he do better than anybody else? He knows how to love and identify great people. And number two, he knows how to sell. And I think knowing how to sell and have great conversations comes from that digital marketing piece of, look, every conversation, every email has a specific formula, which helps you get even better results. And so even as you're talking about this, I love it for our listeners just to really take a hard look, or not a hard look, but an in-depth look, because you're learning this from one of the greatest digital marketers of our time, and certainly in this industry.
Well, you're very kind. So I think one thing that's helped me out in doing this is I'm a testing fanatic.
Yeah.
And so I think most people know here I have my degree is not in financing or business, even though I'm sure that would have been very helpful to have that. But it was actually in chemistry, and my favorite class that I ever took was statistics and probabilities, and I just love that. Just something about which is nothing but testing, right? That's what statistics and probabilities are. It's a just fascinating class to me. But anyway, so I love testing stuff, and I love testing headlines, and I know I love testing closings. I love when I'm talking with somebody, I'll try something new and I look at their facial expression to see, was it well received? Did they understand what I said? Was it maybe they misunderstood me and was kind of put off by it? And so I love testing stuff. So it's come just from tens of thousands of conversations, like literally, is where this comes from. It's just a lot of experience, like a lot experience. There's no easy way to do it. Yeah, actually, there is an easy way to do it. Find somebody with tons of experience and have them share it
Learn
with
from
you,
guys like you.
which is
That's what
exactly
I'm
what we're
doing.
doing today. And I've had some great people that's taught me a lot.
Yeah.
Anyway, so so the formula for a perfect
Mm.
conversation, and so it's got a little acronym.
Okay.
It's PPS PAP. What the hell does that spell? Nothing that I could think of. So
Ah,
nothing that I could think of. I tried rearranging them. Well, you can't rearrange them because it's a formula that
yeah.
goes in this order. So the first P, so it's PPS PAS.
Mm.
PPS PAS.
BAS.
So the first P is purpose.
Mm.
When I'm calling you, I have to tell you the purpose of the phone call.
Yeah.
And so let's grab something. Your my past database.
Yeah, that's a great one.
100% of the people know if you called your past database from A to Z, and I don't care if you haven't called them in the last 10 years.
Yep.
If you call, or if you talked to them the last month, right? Most often you haven't talked to them in the last 10 years, or you haven't, like once you closed, you sent some little tchotchke thank you thing, maybe, Nothing wrong with doing that, by the way. In fact, a lot of good things about doing that, but that was their last
Yeah.
communication, right? So, so it's like, well, Carl, I feel weird. Why would I be calling? Let's say you had the winning lottery numbers for this coming Saturday.
Yeah.
You'd have no problem making that phone call. And everybody that has it, they don't share the prize. They each get the prize.
Hmm.
You'd have zero issue calling your past database. Say, Steve, dude,
Hey, I got
I've
the
got an
winning number.
insider.
Yeah.
I've got the winning numbers of lottery. Zero people would have hesitancy calling their past database, giving them the winning lottery numbers if they knew it
100%.
to be
Yep.
true.
100%.
100%, right? So what that tells me is when somebody doesn't call their past database, is they don't think they have a purpose for calling,
Mm.
right? So I think the reason why people don't market to their past database is they don't know the purpose of doing it, right? The
Mm.
purpose of bringing me a new business, but what do I tell them,
Yeah.
right? So what's the purpose of my call? So let's say I'm calling my past database. Hey, Steve, it's Carl White over here at ABC Mortgage. Hey, just a
Yep.
reminder, I helped you with your mortgage in the past.
Hmm.
And the purpose of me calling today is to thank you.
That's it.
That's it.
Super simple.
Super simple. Who doesn't
Carl,
like to
don't
be?
you call me and thank me again. That's just rude of you.
Yeah, I've never once, out of the thousands and thousands
Yeah.
and thousands and thousands of calls I've made, I've
Yeah.
never once had somebody say, dude, don't ever thank me again. Dude, I get people to call me and they're wanting to get on my calendar about something and I get it, right? I know what it's like. I remember doing that myself, and they'll call me up and say, hey, Carl, first of all, I just want to let you know, I listen to your podcast,
Yeah.
every week, and dude, I love it. And it's like, all right, I like this guy I'm talking to.
A
I
little
say
bit
to
of honor.
myself,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And why do I like them? Because they said
They
they like
honored you.
me, right?
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
hey, it works. What can I say? So tell me more about how you like me.
You're so good looking and
And so
debonair and just,
yeah,
man. Whew.
it works, right? It
Yeah.
works. It
Yeah.
works, right? It works. So like in our dating life, boy, that's a pretty dress, or that's a nice watch or a nice whatever, nice shoes or whatever. Guys don't notice shoes, by the way. Ladies do, but guys don't. Anyway, so the purpose is to thank you. So the first P is purpose,
Love it.
right? The second P is problem. Here's
Mm.
the problem I'm solving. Here's the
Okay.
problem that you might have that I'm solving.
Mm.
And so let's see. Let's stick with a past database here for a second, or let's switch over to real estate agents. Just say.
Okay.
And so, Steve, the problem that I see that a lot of real estate agents are having is they've got this large past database, but they're not getting referrals from it.
Mm.
And I think it's a simple thing of they just haven't had a chance. Who could blame them,
Yeah.
right? Always give them, don't make them feel bad about themselves, right? Who could blame them? They've been so busy, but they haven't been able to reach out to their past database
Yeah.
and ask for the business. Or if I'm talking to my past database, a problem I've seen is there's just record credit card debt,
Mm.
and interest rates on those things are like 30% now.
Yeah.
Like it's really, really high. And so now so purpose,
Yep.
identify the problem, and now solution. So one thing that we do over here, Steve, is we do debt consolidation loans. That it's very likely that we could put together, we could review your current situation, and we often seen, somebody that's saving 5, 6, 700, $1,200 a month, roll that all into one loan, and yet even still pay off their home 4 years faster, 7 years faster, like whatever the
Yeah.
numbers say,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so now I've just provided you a solution. Or for the real estate agents, that we have this new CRM that
Mm-hmm.
uses AI to
Mm-hmm.
communicate and have and I'm using air quotes here, a real live conversation. It is a real live conversation. It just happens to be with an AI bot that's just amazing, right?
Yeah.
And so we have an AI bot that will talk with your past database, and its sole purpose is to put leads on your calendar,
Mm-hmm.
or B, get a 5-star review on Google, both of which results in business. Right. So I just given you the solution, both realtors and to their past database. So number one, purpose. Number two, problem. Number three, solution. Number four, proof.
Mm,
For example, Steve, we just finished helping a family that lives over in Lakeview, not too far from where you guys are. And it was Mike and Sandy. And their situation was is they had about $23,000 in credit card debt, and they were at a 3.5% interest rate. And the thought of going to a higher interest rate, they weren't crazy about until they found out
yeah,
that when we averaged in all that 30% credit card debt and their car loan debt, and we averaged all that in, come to find out, they ended up that they were saving, and I'm just using some numbers here, right?
sure.
You want to make sure to tell the truth on this. So this would be a real example that you're doing. And if you haven't done one yet, you can borrow somebody. Like Steve, I'm a loan officer. You're a loan officer. You tell me a story about one of yours. For example, my friend Steve, who's also a loan officer here, he just helped a client. Right? You can't
Hmm.
steal the story, but I can borrow the story. Stealing the
Yes,
story is saying I did when I didn't. That's stealing the
that's right.
story, not cool.
That's right.
But borrowing story, a friend of mine that's also a loan officer just helped a family and they saved $543 and uh, did the plan where they're actually going to pay off their house 5.3 years faster.
Mm,
So if I could show you how perhaps that would work for you also, would you give me 20 minutes to show you how?
yeah.
Right. So that's the proof, right? I give you a case study, an example.
Yep.
So number one is purpose. Number two is identify the
Problem.
problem. Number
Yep.
three, identify the solution that you're bringing. Number four, proof. Give social proof. Tell them a story. And if you don't have a story, don't make one up. God knows, don't ever do that. I'm a karma guy. Don't make up stories, but I can borrow stories about how somebody else has that, given them the credit, right? The last piece is the ask, which I kind of did that already. So they ask. So it's purpose, problem, solution, proof, ask. So on the ask, it was, which I just did. So
Yeah. Could
if
you
we
give
could
me 20
show
minutes?
to
Yeah.
investigate, if we could show
Yeah.
how that might apply for you and Stephanie, Steve, would you give me 20 minutes to show you how?
Yeah.
uh, uh, Realtor Steve, if I could show you how we can have this AI bot have real live conversations with your past database and get 14, like just like with Realtor Lisa that I just told you about, how she got 14 five-star reviews in the last 30 days.
Wow.
And now
Yeah.
she's getting leads coming in from Google organic searches, which,
Hmm.
by the way, our experiences shows us they close at about 17%, which
Yep.
is super high, right? Zillow is like about 1%, Facebook about 1%, Google search is about 17%, almost as good as a referral. So if we could show you how we could implement this AI bot in the CRM with your past database, would you give me 20 minutes to demonstrate how it works?
Hmm.
Right. So that's ask. Right. And those are just two examples. I don't want you to necessarily remember these exact asks per se, but I just want you to start understanding you have got to talk about here's the purpose of my call, here's the problem that I solve, here's the solution to that problem, here's the social proof, and then ask for the business. And the last one is I call it my PS. So it's purpose, problem, solution, proof, ask, PS. The PS is nothing but a summation of what I just talked about. Like in when we do stage work, the old formula is tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them. And so I kind of do that on my perfect communication. Is the PS is well again, Steve, the true purpose of my call was to thank you, and I also wanted to make sure that you heard what I said about, a big problem that a lot of people are having right now. How I help with that problem is this thing right here. And I'd love to help you just like what we helped Realtor Lisa or borrower Bob.
Mm.
And if we could do a follow-up call here for 20 minutes, or if I can count on you for that next buyer lead so we can implement all these systems and processes into all of your buyer leads to help you get a higher conversion of those, get more closings with the same amount of referrals that you're currently already getting. I'd love to do business with you. Does that sound like a good plan for you?
Yeah.
So on the PS, I just do a real quick. Now, just to give you an idea, if I'm doing this in an email and or a text, not in place of the phone calls, but in addition to them, I
Mm,
need to state my purpose in one sentence. So let's talk email just for a second as we wrap this up. My purpose has to be able to said in one sentence.
mm,
So one sentence purpose. The problem, I allow two sentences, only two sentences. The solution, one sentence. The proof, the social proof, one sentence. The ask, one sentence. The PS, one sentence. This is not a 5-page article, right? This is super short. So purpose, one sentence, problem, two sentences, solution, one sentence, proof, one sentence, the ask, one sentence, the PS, one sentence.
mm.
And that's my perfect communication.
I love it. You
Um,
go do one thing you said, your PS is you tell them what you told them. What was that
yeah.
again? Was that three-part, like when you're doing stage work? That was great.
So we do state like if like we have a lot of the organizations that are
Sure.
kind enough to ask us to come speak at their group, right? So, by the way, if you're listening to this day and you're with a state association or a company and would like to have a speak, would love to talk to you. If you, I'll give you I'll give you your URL here in just a second. But
Yeah.
anyway, so when we do stage work, um, when you come on the stage, you go, all
Yep.
right. So, hey, great to see everybody here. So here's what we're going to talk about today.
All right.
I'm going to talk to you about having the perfect conversation, and that it's got 6 parts: purpose, problem, solution, proof, ask, PS. Let's get into it now.
Yep. Here's what we're going
So
to talk
I just
about.
told you what I'm
Yep.
going to tell you.
Okay.
And now I'm going to tell you, all right, purpose. Let's start with that. I spend the next 5 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, like what if it's an email, 2 sentences on talking about the problem now, right? And then the solution,
Yeah.
then the proof, then the ask,
Yeah.
then the PS. So tell them what you're going to tell them. Then we're going to get into the meat of it. And then at the
Tell them.
end, we have to
Yeah.
wrap it up. Tell them what you told them. So, all right. So great to have everybody here today. So just as a wrap up, what we talked about was
I love it.
this
Mhm.
was the purpose. This was a problem. Here's our solution that I offer. Here's the proof of that solution. Love to work with you guys. And then the wrap up. And so
Mhm.
tell them what you're going to tell them. Tell them what you told them.
That's great. I mean, that, dude, such great
Yeah.
communication. Man,
Yeah.
I love it.
And just perfect trans. I don't, that's like I don't know where that came from, but that's a common. I don't know, common's the right word, but
It's a formula. It's a
it's
process.
a formula. It's a well-known
Communicate.
formula.
Oh,
Tell them
it's
what you're gonna
huge.
tell them. Tell them what you told them. Yeah.
Oh, it's so
And
good.
so this formula to the perfect conversations should be equally as well known because it's equally as powerful. Very
Mhm.
powerful. Having the
Mhm.
because you skip. If I call you and don't tell you the purpose, if I
Yeah.
call you and I don't tell you what problem I help solve, if I introduce a problem but don't solve it, if
Mhm.
I tell you all this but don't have proof, don't give social proof, you think I'm full of crap, perhaps.
Mhm.
If I state the problem, state the problems, state the purpose, state the problem, state the solution, state the proof, but don't ask, I'll get no business.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the wrap up just it gives a chance for them just to clarify and have clarity. And if they have any questions, it'll come during the PS.
Yeah.
Just like in an email, we always have a PS. Just like a letter, we always have a PS.
Yeah.
We have to have a PS in our conversations also. And you
Mhm.
take out any one of these, the effectiveness
You're missing
alone.
it. Yeah, it it
Oh,
it goes back to it's a conversion issue. This is what makes
yeah,
it super powerful to be able to
yeah,
convert even more of what you've already got. So
yeah. I
that's
agree.
huge.
Good
Hey,
stuff.
great. It's a great formula. Thanks for the share, man.
Yeah. All right. So, hey, when you're ready to go over some actual examples of like, hey, give me some more examples and be able to write them down and take notes on it, maybe do some screenshots. We would love to talk to you about the different scripting that we use, the different, as I've learned from Steve, conversations by design. When done the right way in the right
Mhm.
formula to the right people, it's nothing has done more for my business than this part of it. This has moved the needle more than everything else combined. We'd love to share it with you. Just go to freedomclubdemo.com, freedomclubdemo.com, freedomclubdemo.com. What it'll do, it'll ask you a couple questions. By the way, if you want us to speak at something or you want us to do a webinar or something, you can use that same form and just start the conversation there. but it'll ask you a couple questions, and then it'll take you to a calendar. You pick a time and date that works best for you, and we'll have a one-on-one on that call. And this can be a dramatic shift. And I find that when we have this formula, like all those fears and
Yeah.
those, well, what about this and what about that? Like it just kind of melts away when we have the formula. Just like you could put me in any situation and ask me my phone number. Man, I know my number. I know what to say. I have zero fear of, I could stand in front of a million people literally and say, Carl, what's your phone number? And I'll get it right. I'll nail it 100% of the time. Right. So it's just about being prepared.
Yeah.
And once you're prepared, all those self-doubts and all that fears and all those things that's holding you back from the success you deserve, it just melts away when you know what to do. So freedomclubdemo.com. Appreciate you, Steve. Love you, man. You're an absolute joy to work with, and you're a great friend. I've learned so much from you, and I appreciate you doing the podcast with me.
So much fun. All right, everybody. See you.